Okay, guys. So we are going to start off, and the first question that I will be doing, it's March-June 2021 examination, and this is the question number 1 of this March-June 2021 examination. Let's have a bit of a discussion about it. That what exactly is it that the examiner is asking us to do with respect to this question? So the name of this question is flag bicycles. What is it? It's flag bicycles. It's a normal method that how the examiner gives you the question. He says the following exhibits available on the left hand side. So these are the exhibits which are available on the left hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the question. The company information, the background mission statement and recent product development of the company. The performance reporting, which is details of work required by the chief executive on current performance. Report of flag to address concerns raised by non-executive director. External business environment, production department, appendix 1, 2, 3, etc. Before I go on to the question, I just go through the requirements of the question to see that what exactly are the things that I am being asked to do in this question. So it says it is now 1st of September 2005. You need to write a report to the chief executive officer to respond to his instructions for work on the following areas. The performance reporting at flag focused on the question of manipulation in the board report, whether the report addresses the company's objectives and the report's presentation, the consultant's report on external business environment, and the issue of performance measurement at the production department. So there are 4 areas that you are actually required to do. The first thing is you are required to write a report to the chief executive officer. How exactly are we going to be writing down the report to the chief executive officer? All that I've done is that I've copied all which is written in the requirement section. I will go on to the word processing requirement. I would just click and I would just paste it, in fact. Now, so the first thing is that I would create a report format. I would say to the chief executive officer. A lot of you people would be wondering, I have not read the question and I have just started attempting it. Yes, because with the CBE exam, it becomes quite easy to just copy paste a lot of material. To the chief executive officer, flag company. From what is your role? What is your role? Do we know who you are? Okay. It must be mentioned somewhere in the question. So it's not available to me right now. That is okay. The subject, report on flag bicycles. Dated 1st September 20x0, I guess. 20x5. There is this introduction in which you would say this report discusses the performance report at flag with a focus on the question of manipulation in the board report, comma, and evaluation of whether the report addresses the company's objective and comments on the report presentation. Further, this report discusses the consultant's report on the external environment and addresses the issues of performance measurement at the production department. So what are you going to do? Using the questions requirement, you are able to write down. Using the questions requirement, you are able to write down an introduction paragraph of the report. So there are usually 4 marks for the professional marks, and what those 4 marks are, you give an introduction, you give a body of the report, so you get 2 marks for that. And the remaining 2 marks are for the discussions and your method of presenting. That's how you get the remaining 2 marks. So, but what I have done is, while reading through the question, I just copied the requirements and I created a report format from those requirements. Now, so what are the requirements of this question? Let's talk about the company information. So when you talk about the company information, it says Flag Bicycles is a large national bicycle manufacturer in the well-developed country of Beeland. What is it? It's a well-developed country of Beeland. It was a family-owned business until 3 years ago, when it raised new funds from the venture capitalists to develop new models of bicycle. Of the 8 models in its current range, 2 have been significantly redesigned and 1 totally new model has been launched in 2004. So what have they done? They have got 8 different types of bicycles in their current range. 2 of them have been redesigned from the previous ones, and 1 of them is the latest model that has been launched. This new model, the Zome, has been developed over 5 years and is Flag's most radical development to date, as it is lightweight and has an electrical battery which can assist less physically fit riders to cycle up hills. So what have they done? They have created a bicycle which is suited for even the less healthy people also. Now, the venture capital invested $30 million in 2012 and insisted that Flag produce a mission statement as clear as indication of company's objective. The objective of the Flag is to give shareholders sustainable growth in returns by developing and manufacturing the best quality bicycles, and so bring the joy of cycling to broad range of customers. This is a very important paragraph because this paragraph is going to give us a lot of guidance when we would be writing down the answer to the question. Now let's talk about the performance reporting. When we talk about the performance reporting, it says the VC has a non-executive director on the board of Flag. She has criticized the executive directors over the most recent report that was presented to the board meeting in order to review the annual performance to date of 30th June 2005. Now, the representative from the venture capitalist has criticized the board, criticized the report that has been published. What was the report? It is in Appendix 1. So if I try to talk about this report, it's a performance report of 2005, 2004, improvement, industry average, revenue, cost of sale, etc., etc. There's this commentary, revenue from new and redesigned bicycle, PBT, operating profit margin, admin expenses, revenue, exceptional costs, etc., etc. So there are things available in it. Now let's just talk about it. Firstly, she was very unhappy about what she felt were attempts to manipulate the picture of Flag's performance presented in the report. So she has actually commented that the performance of Flag in the report is not being properly presented, it's being manipulated. Now, secondly, she repeated criticism that she had given in earlier board meetings that the report does not address the company's objective. So there are problems that the report does not address the company's objective. Also, she felt attempts were made to manipulate the reports. She then demanded that the executive directors take action on these points immediately and asked that the board meeting be reconvened once this is done. The chief executive wants you as a performance management expert. Who are you? You are a performance management expert. The chief executive wants you as a performance management expert in the company to give him advice on these matters. He is committed eventually to do a redesign of the performance reporting at Flag, but he needs to understand the non-executive directors concerned. So you see, a lot of students get confused that what exactly is the examiner asking us to do. We don't get to understand this. So a lot of times the examiner explains them in the exhibits or the appendix. So he has explained it here. What? He needs to understand the non-executive directors most clearly before this begins. He is happy that there is no arithmetic error in the presentation of the report, but wants a critical review from you addressing the question of manipulation in the impression given by the report and addressed by the current report addresses the company's objective and briefly any other issues in its presentation. So that is what the chief executive wants you to do. Now, so this is what it is. What is there in the appendix 2? This is consultant report. What is there in appendix 3? Okay, this is production department information. Okay, now see. Let's talk about the performance report. Now, he's saying that the executive director is concerned that this report is manipulative. So one of the requirement is the question of the manipulation in the board report. The question of manipulation in the board report. Now what is it? Revenue is being given 4 and 5. Cost of sale is given. The gross profit is given. Admin expenses are given. Distribution expenses are given. Selling and marketing expenses are given. Operating profit is provided. Operating margin is given. Exceptional cost, net financing cost, profit before tax, etc., etc. Now see, before I go on commenting on anything, there are few things that are actually bothering me. Now, what is that? You have shown that your revenue improvement year on year. Why do you need to write the improvement? You could have written change year to year on year. So the word improvement year on year is misleading and should rather have been change year on year. Furthermore, industry average percentage is not given for this negative result of yours. Further, with respect to gross profit, again, the industry average is not given for a result of yours. But for the operating profit margin, the industry average result is being provided. That what is the industry average percentage? Now, the industry average data is not provided for each item. The year on year change is also not provided. Yeah, John, thank you. That is selective presentation of data. Now what next is there? The admin expenses, distribution expenses, operating profit margin, exceptional costs, net financing costs, profit before tax. Okay. So you could have incorporated the impact of tax also. You could have incorporated the impact of tax also. The effect of tax could have been incorporated to reflect the actual profit. Now, again, am I writing down the answer? No, I'm just picking up points. I'm just picking up points. Yeah, biased presentation. Revenue from new and redesigned bicycle models grew 200% 2000x5. The PBT is improved by 86%. Operating profit margin has fallen by a small 1.8%. Now, try to understand something. The 1.8% decline in operating profit margin is an incorrect presentation. Better presentation should have been reduction in operating profit, which is 13 minus 19. 13 minus 19 divided by 19. Which is 31.57%. Okay. Segmental breakup is not provided, especially considering that new product has performed well, but what about the other products sales? Administrative expenses include the income from a 2-year government grant of 5 million per annum in 2005 and 4 relating to Zoom. Okay. The income is deducted from the expenses rather than being presented as a separate other income. Revenue includes revenue from Zoom, new electrical bicycles, 25 in 2005, 5 in 2004. If percentage of change in revenue due to new bicycles was being presented in terms, sorry, then revenue change from Zoom could also be presented in terms of percentage change, that is 25 minus 5 divided by 5 into 100 is equivalent to 400%, right? 400% to give a better picture of which product has actually contributed to largest revenue change. The exceptional costs are the cost of developing the new electrical bicycle. Rather than expensing out R&D as exceptional cost, it would have been better to amortize the development over the life to ensure that matching principle is maintained in the financial statements. Now see, we have actually been able to identify the different types of points. Now, is it the way to write down the answer in the exam? The answer is no. So why are you writing the points like this? The reason being, I have just accumulated the points for myself. I have not written down the answer. I have just identified the relevant points for myself. Now, what have I been doing? Now see, there is further more evaluation that you could do, that had the R&D cost been amortized over 5 years, then the PBT of 2000x4 would have been 7 plus 12 minus 7 plus 12 minus 12 upon 5 is equivalent to 16.6, and the profit for the current year would have been 13 minus 12 upon 5 is equivalent to 10.6, indicating that there is actually a decline in profit as compared to last year. Now you see, this is practically what you got to do. Can you just confirm, Arun? I think it's 10.6, not 11.6. Now see, so what you would do is that the question raised by the executive director that the report has been manipulated is being addressed as under. While calculating the change for the various financial statement items over time, the report mentions the word improvement, although there are decline in the revenue and gross profit instead of the increase. The word improvement is misleading. Additionally, the change in the, now see, I will not be removing the pointers that I created just to guide you people that what am I doing in order to draft the answer. This is a technique that you will appreciate. I repeat, this is a technique that you will appreciate. Why? Because a lot of students, they get confused at how to relate all this data. So I'm just trying to give you the technique that how you would actually combine all the information and ultimately present an answer. So see, additionally, the change in the, what am I doing? I just wrote down the points and I'm now developing those points into an answer. The word improvement is misleading. Additionally, the change in the figures for each and every item is not provided and is only provided for the selective items where the entity has either not performed badly or has performed exceptionally well as per the report, like in the case of, what was 86%, like in the case of profit before tax. The industry information is not made available for all items of the report, as the presentation of industry data may have exposed the entity performance further. Since the value for the shareholders is affected by the taxation, is affected by the profit after tax, the effect of tax would have reflected a different picture of the entity's performance as compared to what it is reflecting now. Okay, what else is there? The change in operating profit percentage presented is presented in a misleading manner, and a better presentation would have been to compare the change in the operating profit amount as a percentage of the previous year's profit from the computations the decline in the operating profit is 31.57% instead of the 1.8% mentioned by the entity. Only few of the products have performed amongst the 8 types of products presently in the market. A better presentation would have been to split the revenue into the products rather than just providing a vague growth percentage of 200% in the notes and a separate absolute change in the revenue from Zoom in the notes. Further, the revenue change from Zoom is presented as a in monetary terms rather than in percentage terms, which would have presented a better picture of the other 2 bicycles of the new model. Profit for the current year has also been manipulated due to expensing out of the R&D cost as exceptional cost in the previous period rather than recognizing it as a asset and amortizing over the estimated life of 5 years. Now, based on above evaluation, the executive directors or whatever, who is she? Is she a executive or non-executive? Non-executive, sorry. Based on the evaluation, the non-executive director Based on the above evaluation, the non-executive director comments about the report being manipulative are correct. Now you see, I'm just cutting it down just to make sure that you people don't get confused. The reason being that what my answer is, I've actually drafted my answer for you people. If I would have been writing in the exam, this is how I would be writing. And you could see how I created the answer from the data that was available to me. Now let me know if you all are okay with this. And let me know in case if anyone has got any questions on this, please. Yeah, let me know if you all are okay with this. I hope you people do get it that how to create this. I hope you people do get it that how to create this answer. Yeah, thank you. Good enough. I cannot copy paste the answer in Word. I will print it and I will give it to you people at the end of the session. You can take a screenshot from here. It's the whole answer is opened up. The whole answer is opened up. Because you see, my agenda is not to, my objective is not to go for quantity, but to go for the quality, and that I produce those type of answers and develop the techniques for you people so that ultimately you are able to handle almost every type of a question. Okay, good enough. So now I'm going to move on to the next requirement. And the next requirement of this question was whether the report addresses the company's objective and the report's presentation. Now see, what happens is that okay, this data is just there for you people, not for the purpose of mentioning this in the exam. I just wanted to guide you people how it could be presented. What I would do is that I would remove the strike through from it, and I would rather make it underline and make it bold also, so that you know that this is not something that you got to actually I mean, like, this is not the answer, this is just for you people. Okay, for the second part of the requirement, whether the report addresses the company's objectives and the report's presentation. So now let's talk about it. No, you don't have to do it in the exam. I'm just doing it for you people. Please, 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 you don't do it in the exam. You have the scratch pad in the exam. You have the scratch pad in the exam, you can use the scratch pad for it. Now, okay, what was there in the company's objective? The objective of the business is to give the shareholders sustainable returns. Okay, to give the shareholders sustainable growth in returns by developing and manufacturing best quality bicycles, and so bring the joy of cycling to a broad customer base in B land. Now, the objectives of the entity include the objective of the entity can be broken down into the following. Okay, the objectives of the entity can be broken down into the following. Since the report is used by the management for the evaluation of the entity's performance and for the decision making purposes, it is important that the report provides information which covers these objectives. So it's important that the report provides the information which covers these objectives. Now, for the shareholders, is it a listed company? Is it a listed company? Not provided. Okay, it's family owned, probably not listed company. Now, see what happens is that the shareholder returns could be calculated using multiple methods, including economic value added, total shareholder return, the dividend yield, or the dividend cover, etc. Dividend yield, the return on capital employed, based on the information that is presented to shareholders, only the financial statement profit figures are being provided. A better presentation would have included above KPIs, additionally, for the future growth, the company may have presented to the shareholders the expected forecast cash flows and the plans for ensuring that the revenue growth and hence the profits are sustained in the future. So your report could have included these things also, a commentary, a presentation about future plans and etc. So these things could also have been presented. Developing and manufacturing best quality bicycles so you could say that in order to provide information about these initiatives, a detail of the development expenditures done and planned for the future to be provided. Furthermore, the details of how the bikes have been placed among the competitors' products in the industry. The number of design awards or the quality awards won on these bicycles produced. So that is something that you could have done. I repeat, that is something that you could have done. Now what next is there? If I move a bit forward and discuss further, so this could be better reflected through customer analysis, including age, gender, class, type of workers. There could be multiple types of geographical locations, multiple type of classification of the data could be done. Multiple type of classification of the data could be done, which would provide a better picture about how broad the customer base is. Additionally, warranty claims, customer complaints, customer retention ratio, and other similar type of measures could have been presented to provide a better picture. Yeah, Ali, this is really good point. This is really good point that you took 5 years to develop it. You may have done it earlier. Anyways, would you like to add up anything to this part now? You see, what did I do? I actually picked up the objective and I classified the objective and I tried to create it that look, you are not addressing all this in your report. Why are you not addressing all this in the report? Now, lastly, what you could do is that additionally, product wise market share could also have been considered. Now, they've also requested us to comment on the presentation. With respect to the presentation of the report, so it's just that you need to say it's not always that you would be criticizing. You got to talk about good things also. The presentation of data, financial figures are rounded into millions, makes concise, makes numbers easily readable and understandable. Furthermore, the commentary is not up to the mark and is quite confusing. A trend line could have been presented for the revenue and profits. Pie charts could have been used to present the information in a more meaningful manner. With respect to the product wise sales, Information is presented in a biased manner. So these are few comments that you would probably be making with respect to it. Okay, do you people get it now? There could be many other comments that you can make, but again, we cannot just write down all the things here. There are many other comments many people can make, but as long as it is making sense, it is good. So you could see that how I have written down the answers, how I have developed the answer using the relevant objective that was being given. Is that all okay now? Anyone having any questions till now? Are you all okay with this? Yeah, this is a very important point that you have identified, that you should not go overboard. That is, you just keep in mind that what are the number of points that you would be addressing. Yeah, that is what you could do, which is number of points could be 1.1 mark. That could be the best approach. Yeah, I'll be providing you with a PDF also, so don't worry about it. Okay, good enough, guys. So let's move. Okay, see, I have not copy pasted entirely. I've actually amended them. I have adapted them to my scenario. I've not done the complete copy paste. You could see that I've not done the complete copy paste. I've just copied a certain part. I've amended it. I've used the information, and that is what I've done. It will be done today. Okay, now let's move a bit forward and discuss further. So we are done with the requirement A of the question, which is actually the major part of the question, 12 plus 14. Now, the next is consultant reports on the external business environment. So external business environment, let's see what is actually going on. The CEO has recognized that the company operates in increasingly volatile external business environment. Therefore, he has employed a consultant to perform a PEST analysis, and he has given you the relevant extracts of their report, Appendix 2. We'll see Appendix 2. He stated he does not want you to reperform consultant's analysis of external environment. Instead, he wants you to focus on the implications of the PEST factors identified on the flex business, and then on providing a justified recommendation of a suitable performance indicator to measure the impact of those factors. Okay. Now let me guide you something. What is the examiner asking you to do in this scenario? For example, if the scenario is like this, that the market is such that the competitors are producing new products every day, so there is a tough competition. Okay. Now, how would it impact the entity if the entity does not innovate or produce the products at the same pace as competitors? We will lose out. So what should be done? Encourage employees to produce more product. Encourage managers to produce more product. How? Introduce a performance measure, which is continue measuring their performance as the number of new products launched, the number of successful products launched, etc., etc., etc. So basically, what is it that you need to do? You need to do this thing, because you see the examiner is saying he wants you to focus on the implication of the PEST factors on the business. One requirement is this. And then on providing a justified, why are you recommending this indicator? To measure the impact of the suitable performance indicator, to measure the impact of those factors with justification. That why? Okay, we'll do it. Don't worry. Appendix 2. The good thing is he has given you the PEST report, and it is being categorized into the headings. So what we would be doing is that we would be just picking up. See, what is the marks allocated for it? 12 marks. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 12 marks. One implication, one indicator will give you 2 marks. So that means 6 implications and 6 indicators will give you 12 marks. Now see, the government of B land has recently provided tax allowances to citizens who use a bicycle to commute to work. It has also supported cycling by building many new dedicated cycle paths. So what is going to be the impact on the business? What is going to be the impact on the business? Okay, positive impact. Tax allowance and new patch, improved disposable income. What else? Okay. With respect to this requirement, yeah, part B. The evaluation of the consultant's report. So basically, the political factors, the impact of the introduction of tax allowance for the bicycle users and the provision of new cycle paths will have the effect of the increase in the demand for the bicycles. the more and more users will be willing to buy bicycles, and hence demand for new bicycles will increase. So what should be the KPI? The KPI of revenue growth. Number 2, the first time number of bicycles or the proportion of bicycles sold to first time buyers, also the market share, or you could say growth in market share. Do you actually get this? Do you get these? I have mentioned 3 performance measures. I have not mentioned one. In the exam, you would mention 1 or max 2, but I have mentioned 3, and I will give justification for each also. Since it is expected that new users will be more and more people will be buying the bicycles. Therefore, the performance of flag will be judged using the revenue growth it has achieved after the introduction of the measures by the government. More and more people will switch to bicycles, and the entities which capture the new customers will be more, and the entities which capture the new customers will be considered to be more successful as compared to the other entities. So if the proportion of the first time buyers increase, that will create a greater customer base for the future. Do you get it? And we could have a similar type of answer for the growth in the market share also. Okay, excellent. So it is actually going to be the incentive put by the government. John, I'm using your comment. Will encourage more entrants into the industry. Hence, growth in market share will indicate prevalence. The growth in the market share will show the prevalence. Now, what next is there? Let's move, let's discuss further. Now, let's move on to the next requirement. Economic environment. BLAN has seen a steady economic growth for the last 20 years, and this wealth has spread through all parts of society. The introduction of significant import tariffs has surprised many businesses, such as Flag, who import raw materials or subcomponents for the final assembly. Now, see, what is actually going to happen is that how would it impact the business? Yeah, how would it impact the business? One of them is the first part will impact the business positively, because that means more and more people now have got the money to buy things. However, the introduction of significant import tariff would make these bicycle assembly to be expensive, or it would have an impact on the reduction in the margins. Okay. For the economic factors, what you would be doing is you would be saying that since the economy has grown on an overall basis, this would provide a positive impact on the business, that people will have greater disposable income and the spending power would enable to buy more. However, the increased import tariff would have the effect of increasing the cost of production, and if the same amount of margins are required to be achieved, then if the same amount of margins are required to be achieved, then either the selling prices would have to be increased, or the or else or the cost reduction is to be achieved through other measures, or else the demand for the products would decline. Now, what is going to be the performance indicator that you would introduce? Cost per unit, or you could say the percentage reduction in cost per unit. Since increasing selling price would reduce demand, if the costs are not reduced through efficiencies and product modifications / developments, the margins will reduce and will ultimately have an impact on the business's profitability. Therefore, the best approach of managing the businesses sales / margins in the current situation is to reduce cost of production per unit. Do you people get it now? Yeah, do you people get it now? Okay, good enough, lovely. Now let's move on to the third one, socio-cultural environment. Yeah, Behzad, we could talk about the innovation. I would request you to please write down your answers at everyone so that others could also see. It says having a healthy lifestyle has become an increasingly popular aspiration for the people of Zealand. Population is aging with increasing numbers of retired people. Now, what is going to be the impact? Yeah, can you just let me know what is going to be the impact? Healthy lifestyle is going to encourage people to go for the cycling, but the aging would reduce the cycling. So how to tackle this? How to tackle this? Yeah, how to tackle this situation? What KPI to be introduced in this scenario? Okay, sales by age group. Okay, what else? Okay, automate innovation in cycle for aged people. Okay. Okay, for the socio-cultural factors, what happens is that the aspiration for healthy lifestyle would encourage more people to switch to bicycles, but the aging population may be discouraged if the bicycles are difficult to ride for them. Therefore, the environment, okay, wait a bit. Number of products for the aging population. Number of successful products for the aging population. The challenge is to attract the aging population to live up to their aspirations of the healthy lifestyle. The entities who would produce comfortable and age-friendly products would be more successful as compared to the entities which are continuously producing the same type of products. So the production / development suitable for the aging population is required. Do you get it? Yeah, do you people get it? Okay, lovely. Now last thing, okay, no, not this one. Technological environment, cheap new materials are enabling lighter bicycles to be built without compromising their strength. Battery technology has rapidly advanced so that it is feasible to fit lightweight electrical power units to bicycles. Okay, for this technological advancements, both the developments are going to create a challenge plus an opportunity for the entity. The challenge to adopt their products to these new type of material and the batteries, and the opportunity to utilize them to the best of the abilities to ensure that the competitive products are being launched into the market. What could be the suitable KPI here? Yeah, what could be the suitable KPI here? Okay. Reduction in bicycle weight, number of products having electrical batteries fitted to them, revenue generated from newly developed bicycles, yeah, do you people get all this? I bet, do you people get all this? Okay, so you could just write down later on about the reasons for introducing of this. The last requirement is the issue of the measurement at production department. Now, what exactly is happening there? Let's just see. It says a senior production manager has recently been angry at her failure to receive part of her bonus for the year when she felt she had performed outstandingly. Okay, so she thought that she has done well, but she did not get the bonus. She is rewarded her bonus in two parts. One part is shares in flag in order to reflect overall company performance, and other part is cash based on performance of her department compared to budget. It was the second part where expectations were not met by the reward. Okay, so the senior production manager is not happy. She hasn't got the reward. During the year, there were significant price changes in material used in the production. The question is probably taking us towards the operational and the planning and the operational variances. Now, SPM has suggested that budget variances should be broken down into those that she can control and those that are out of her control. As such, assessment is otherwise unfair. Yes, she is right. CEO has supplied you with the data relating to this in Appendix 3 and wants advice from you on the implications of this suggestion from accounting at flag. and for this SPM in this particular case. Now, what is the data that is given in Appendix 3? Flag senior management set a standard cost and budget for each department once a year. Okay. SPM's problem arose in relation to the main product of SPM's department, the SPD. The original standard cost was set in the budget to be 255. Okay. During year, actual production costs were 22.5 million with 85,000 SPDs manufactured. Main reason for higher actual cost was a 16% rise in material costs as the materials are imported and the government imposed extra tariffs. If this had been known at the time the budgets were set, the standard cost would have been set at 268 per unit. The SPM would receive the second part of our bonus, 10% of base salary, if the costs have a favorable variance. Now, what is the examiner asking us to do? He is supplying you advice from the implications of this suggestion for management accounting at Flex. So what is the suggestion? The suggestion is, she says that the budget variances should be broken down into those that she can control and those that she cannot control. Now, let's talk. What is it that you got to talk about? You got to say that the variance is the comparison of the budgeted performance with the actual performance. But at times, budgets set are not up to the are not reflecting the present circumstances, and it is better to but at times the budget sets are not reflecting the present circumstances, and it is better to split the variances into the planning and the operational variances. The planning variances are the difference between the revised budget and the original budget. This variance identifies the uncontrollable part of the performance on the part of operational staff. The operational variance are the difference between actual performance and the budgeted performance and the revised budget. These are controllable variances, and the operational staff can be held responsible for these variances in case if they do arise. So now what is actually going to happen? Let's just try to see this. I'll use a spreadsheet to some extent. The okay. Original budget cost per bicycle is 255. The revised budgeted cost incorporating the effect of increase in cost due to material prices is 255 into 1.16. The planning variance per bicycle. Now, so what happens is that for the operational variance, following calculations are to be performed. The number of bicycles $85,000. Budgeted, revised budgeted cost per unit budgeted cost okay, if I need to convert this into millions, divide by 1 into 10 raised to power 6, 25.143 million. The actual cost okay, just wait a bit. I think I probably made a bit of an issue. Original cost was 255 as per the original budget, but they have told us something else, that if these had been known, then the budget set would have been at 268. Okay, they're not incorporating the 15%. The budget set would have been 268. Wait. So still the variance is this minus this minus this million favorable So what you could do is that you could see that based on the calculations, performed in the spreadsheet, there is a favorable operational variance of 0.28 million, suggesting that the SPM was correct in her stance that it was not her fault that the cost of the production rose. Okay, do you people get it now? Okay, so we are done with this question. The final thing could be that, and we are done with this specific question now. Which was the question number 1 of APM March June 2021.